Booyah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Pat's sleeping on the job over there,
Getting organized over here.
getting organized. I was
I
gonna
was
say
I was
what that was.
watching our viewer count and we lost 2 people in the intro. So that's not a good sign for my video editing. I need to
I
I need to touch that intro up a little bit.
so you took us off screen.
Two
You're
people
like,
are like,
forget it.
what is
Can't
this?
even with this
What?
crazy thing. I know the counter. It's funny. The counter is different on what we see. It's different from YouTube and from Twitter, and it can be a little much to have to keep tabs on all of it.
Yeah. And it's really weird that the numbers they never add up. You
They
can
never
have the
add up.
views from YouTube, from Twitter, from the live feed in
Yeah.
StreamYard, and none of it makes any sense. It's just a number pulled out of their ass to figure out like
Yeah, which
how much
way?
to not pay.
The way you're right. Happy Wednesday. How are you?
Good. I have no
Yeah.
complaints. I mean, I've been working and,
Yeah. Working
that's all I
and
got. I got a job. I can make my rent by a smidge.
that's a huge accomplishment, actually. Not everybody can do that.
That is true. But the economy is thriving. Things are great. We
Yeah.
notice.
Not super great. We'll definitely get into that. We're just saying hi to everybody. Hello from someone who wrote in uncommitted for yesterday. That's awesome.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to that. Kim, yes, trans rights are human rights, and we are all for trans rights 100%.
Here.
We've got Happy Wednesday. And Adria, hello. Yeah, so we had our second Sunday show, which was really fun. It's nice to be able to prepare. Obviously, we're not. I'm sure anybody's only source for news, but our Wednesday show, so much of it has to be done last minute, right? Because it has to be stuff that's current. And one of the nice things about the Sunday show is we can kind of do a deep dive on either a documentary or speakers and then comedians. And it doesn't have to be just from the past few days. So there's a little bit, I always feel a little chaotic rolling into our Wednesday show. Like, what did I miss? And like, there are all these videos that are coming out today of, police violence against protesters.
And Lila is always so worried about covering everything. And I'm just like, and I'm like the chill, like, we'll have a show where it'll work out. And then, obviously it's because she's doing all the work and I'm
that's not
too
at
worried
all
about
true.
it. Well, Lila, you got this. You got this.
That is definitely not true. The second part of it. But yeah, I'm always like, what if we want to show the protests happening on 6 other campuses? I feel like, and we only get a certain amount of space on our StreamYard.
It really is tough to decide what to show because there's so much we can choose from.
Yeah.
And every week there's 20 worst of the week candidates.
Oh my God. Yeah, truly.
And cheers. We want to, cheers to all the union people, all the protesters, all the people interrupting politicians and not letting them have any peace. Like everybody, there's so many heroes in that level that it's kind of tough.
Yeah, it is. And we can't go beyond 2 hours. We've already,
you can only get
1 hour show to 1.5. Yeah,
because our trophy and cash fund that we give the winner every week, we can only afford one.
All right, I'm seeing everybody. Hi, Dana. Hello, millennial splaining. Of course, Kim, 100%. We are with you 100% on that. Sorry, I also just took my Pennsylvania is the runs where which is where Summer Lee just bested her challenger, who I think was was going to be heavily supported by AIPAC, but then because she was already showing she was already so far ahead in the race, I think they just backed out of financing her challenger. But anyway, Summer Lee's one of the good ones. So yay.
Amen.
Right? Yeah. All right. Should we go right into cheers? We got a lot to talk about. Or do you want to do some like
wait a minute.
Shoes nizzles.
Heroes and Cheeros.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, our heroes and sheroes ever growing. We are so grateful to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are.
I can't exactly add these up in my head, but it looks like we almost have 100 people, which would be a milestone.
For us, that would be a huge milestone. And we thank you guys. Seriously, it's such a nice, generous thing that you are all contributing. So we really super, super appreciate it. This is Pat's favorite part of the show when I say, please make sure to like and subscribe, smash that notification bell, please. How was your week? How are the last few days for you?
I thought we already got past this, Lila.
No,
I thought we were going to ask about your week.
Okay.
Because my week, how many cat peeing stories do you want to hear?
Yeah. Did anything else happen besides a cat peeing story?
Well, I did have a small breakthrough in that level. We'll see. It's not a permanent solution.
I'm worried if you say it out loud. Yeah, tell me.
It's not a permanent solution, but I put a towel down next to the bed and she peed on the towel instead of, when I say bed, I mean couch, but that's
right.
My impromptu bed, falling asleep in front of the TV.
Really?
So maybe she just wants a little cozy spot. I mean, if I have to put a towel in a litter box that has no litter just for their pee spot.
Is that what you did? Was it in a litter box still?
No, it wasn't. But I mean, it did the trick. But that would be the longer term.
You just want to make sure like solution. It transfers over so that she's not like, oh, any towel is just her spot to pee.
It beats me.
Yeah, actually, that's true. So, if it has a pulse,
baby steps.
Stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't envy you having to go through that training, especially with a cat. That's hard. But
what are you gonna do?
You're being very patient. We had a really fun night on Monday night. When you hear me going, it's because I think this happened on Sunday before our Sunday show. I was peeling apples to make haroset for my Passover dinner.
I thought this shaving story was going somewhere else.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not at all fun and sexy. And I shaved like a big slit in my thumbnail and I keep snagging it on everything and it hurts so bad. But we had a friend of our show and of us in real life as well. Tina Desiree Berg came for our Passover Seder, which was really fun. And another friend of ours whom I met through her, Eric Levi, who's also a journalist who covers, as Tina does, a lot of, right-wing insanity, racist, neo-Nazi pedophiles, like all sorts of outrageous, horrendous.
Yeah, they both do really good investigative stuff. So I appreciate that.
So it's fun to have them over. We sang,
But you had them over for a Jewish holiday, and I thought you guys aren't Jewish now, from what I hear. With the word.
I'm not a real Jew. According
you're not
to
a real Jew. So who just ditched the religion already? You're not
according to the Zionists, I'm not a real Jew. We did modify some of the words. There was actually a good Haggadah that was put out by If Not Now, which had a lot to do with liberation, which Passover does anyway. But there's a lot of things that I didn't love saying anyway my whole life, but certainly now I'm not saying next year in Jerusalem, even as a throwaway line. Not doing it. But we had a really good time. We sang karaoke liberation songs and it was fun. Drank too much as always, and it was a lot of fun.
That does sound fun and also painful. Karaoke is always a little painful.
I'm so bad at singing, but I love it so much.
I had a girlfriend like that. She was the worst singer on earth and she knew it, but she leaned in so hard that she would get the whole room going.
Aww.
Strangers, total strangers.
That's fun.
200 people. She'd hop up there and be an idiot.
Like my best friend's wedding. Remember, did you ever see that with Julia Roberts and Cameron Diaz?
Probably.
Whatever. Anyway, she tries to humiliate Cameron Diaz, and Cameron Diaz is like that. And so she's so charming that you can't even dislike her.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should get going, right? Should we start with our cheers, which is actually a really good cheers this week. It's the only good thing about the whole Biden administration.
And this is good political news. Like, this is actually legislation. And, like, what? How did this happen? It's a miracle.
100%. And now I can't remember if you have a video you need me to show for this.
I mean,
like an intro video, or can I roll right into
Cheers? We do not have a Cheers video.
Okay. So this is Lina Khan, who's head of the FTC, and she's been doing a really good job with holding companies to account. She really has. In fact, so much so that that's the reason Jon Stewart left Apple with his show, because they told him that he couldn't interview her. And that's why he left. And now he has a YouTube show, and he brought her on, and she is a little dry, but it's pretty impressive what she's doing. So let's take a listen to what Lina Khan accomplished this week.
Today, you made a major announcement that helps millions of workers in America. Tell us what that is.
Today, the FTC has finalized a rule that will eliminate the vast majority of non-compete clauses in people's contracts. A non-compete clause is a provision that basically prevents people from taking a job with a competitor or starting a competing business, usually within a particular geographic area and for a certain period of time. So around 30 million American workers are covered by a non-compete. Wages will go up. The average worker will make $529 more every year, which collectively means that tens of billions or hundreds of billions of dollars of wages will be going back to workers. That would happen because right now, workers are stuck in place because of these non-competes. And so even if they get a better job opportunity with higher wages, with better benefits, they can't actually switch jobs, which is bad for those workers. It's also bad for other workers who won't have the opportunities that are not being created because of these non-competes. So there's just less churn in the economy overall. There's less dynamism, and that means that wages are lower than they should be.
Corporate America, Chamber of Commerce, many of their allies want to fight this in the courtroom.
The Chamber of Commerce told us today that the FTC's rulemaking is unlawful, and they told me today it's already contemplating legal action against it.
They're already ready to get rid of it. Yeah, they definitely don't want they don't want true capitalism ever. They don't want to have to compete. It's amazing. Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people don't understand about this is the non-compete stuff. You think of it as highly skilled labor, higher wage jobs, where that's more of like some sort of exclusive.
Right.
You have some secret knowledge of how the
right. Like, yeah. Inside
secret sauce of the company.
Right.
Works,
yeah.
You know? But it's a lot of like fast food jobs and the silliest stuff, you know, and
blue collar jobs, white collar jobs. Yeah. All of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this really is a big deal. And, it's not, I mean, unfortunately, she gives Biden a little credit on this. It's despite
I did cut
Biden.
that out.
It's despite Biden that this all happened.
Yeah.
And that's why she's getting the cheers.
Yeah, she gets the cheers for sure. And I did just want to say, I know there was some of this in here, and here come my readers. Oh, boy, my stream. Oh, there we go. Okay. There's a bunch of stuff. Rise in innovation, an average of 17,000 to 29,000 more patents each year. They always say they always talk about how we can't have government oversight or government funding for innovation, and the capitalism is the thing that does it. But they're preventing that when they close ranks and don't have, open sources and.
Of course. And allowing the monopolies to exist is another piece. The FTC really needs to go after the monopolies.
And she is. That was the thing that she was actually on talking to Jon Stewart about. But of course, they're all fighting her. And all of the company, not all of them, but some of the companies that people thought of with some, charity maybe, or some fondness, like Trader Joe's, trying to get rid of the NLRB. They do not want labor they don't want unions. Anyway, so they're all awful. She's doing a good job in spite of the fact that she works for Biden.
Lina Khan, right? Is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah.
Oh, cheers. We're supposed to drink.
Oh, cheers. Yeah, I'm supposed to drink a little bit. Cheers. Cheers to my wine, my Pinot Noir.
All right, let's get the show going.
Get it going. All right. So we have got, yeah.
What is that all about?
Are you putting that on there?
No, I didn't.
I
think I pushed it once and I think it just keeps looping.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Starting with the COVID update, let's just take a look at what's happening. We had a bit of a lull this week. And last week, so that's nice. I mean, still crazy, but new cases about 65,000 almost, and new deaths under 1,000 for the second week in a row. But I think these are the first 2 weeks, and before that it was 30 weeks in a row that we were over 1,000. So
right.
Nice.
And I mean, look, keep in mind, some of this is seasonal regardless. You know, we are in a time when more people are outside a little more than inside. Right. And we might get a little more lull in the summer as well. Yeah. But even those statistics aren't really keeping track of long COVID and how many people are already suffering devastating effects from COVID. So we can't let up our guard on it.
Right? We absolutely can't, especially as like the World Health Organization is trying to change the wording of airborne. Like they're still obfuscating what's actually happening and how it's transmitted, right? They're bringing in their consultants to come up with some new speak about how it's transmitted. And
we'll have to dive into that article next week, or maybe not Wednesday, not Sunday, Wednesday. But friend of the show, help me out here.
Day.
Yeah, she just wrote another article about it, getting into some of the language changes, but they it's no longer an airborne virus. It's do you know the term?
Well, they're still trying to figure out how to say it. It was like it travels. We're trying to think. I mean, remember, because we showed this last week, that they're trying to come up with terms that everybody can understand. You know, it's just ridiculous, totally ridiculous. But again, they're trying to cover their asses because obviously it's bad news for them if they admit what we've known since February of 2020, which they said by accident for one moment that it travels through the air. There was a bit of good news, though, a possible hopeful news, right? That a little dab of Neosporin under your nose and just inside of it can help prevent transmission. Right?
Absolutely. So there was an article, I mean, a big study, mostly focusing on mice, but then they did an after study that included humans as well, showed it has the same prophylactic, which is preventative
strategy.
Yeah. Effect.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the danger is some people are very allergic to Neosporin in the nose, and that's,
it can be like a dermatological response. And then the other possible issue is it is antibacterial, and how often should people, we already have antibiotics that aren't as effective anymore because we've sort of overprescribed antibiotics. Also because, I mean, that's part of it. I know there's like a group of people who say it's because we've overprescribed antibiotics. There's a group of people who say it's because everything's sterile now and people are so germ conscious and worried. And then there's another group that says, or another possibility, which is when people don't finish their whole course of an antibiotic, it actually allows the bacteria to sort of learn and grow and thrive, which has made people more resistant to antibiotics. But anyway.
And I'm no doctor, scientist, which is shocking.
But you should go ahead and make up some
people
anyway.
But apparently part of it has to do with, it's not really even that important that it's an antibacterial at this point. Like there's some theories behind it are just that it's blocking the uptake of the virus regardless, because normally an antibacterial doesn't defeat a virus. Like it's antibacterials are building up your immune system kind of in localized way.
Well, they're against bacterial infections, not viral infections. Right.
So who knows, but it's a promising study. And even with the allergic component to it, it's possible they can develop something that doesn't have the allergic component that still works for people. So, any good news we can get, we're going to try to share it. So.
Yeah, because Our COVID update these days is now sort of meshing with our bird flu update, which has now reached 33 different states, farms in 33 different states. They're finding it in milk. And, you know, as Eric Topol says, it's not good, folks. I'm not worried about H5N1 transmission to humans yet, but the USDA pathetic lack of transparency, how long it took for the genomes to be released, lack of testing, asymptomatic cattle, all detracts from the confidence that they're espousing, right?
Right. And all the lessons we learned from COVID
show you that we're going to.
The government got away with it.
Yeah.
They've basically gotten a pass on it all. So, you know, we're getting lied to again. So
listen, they didn't even upload their data. They kept it hidden for a long time. And apparently, like for years, they have not been submitting their data to the World Health Organization or to global databases. So because what they were worried about was obviously that's going to have an effect on their sales, right? If you know that that's happening. So they tried to hide it because they want to make sure they get as much money from those tainted cows and their milk as possible.
Yeah. So they're now easing back on the language already. And Rick Bright caught this, but I had both screenshots, but it's not worth all this screenshots. But basically they're talking about pasteurization, and the FDA had said initially last week, pasteurization continually proven to inactivate the virus, basically.
Right.
And so this week their language changed to it's very likely to inactivate the virus.
Though no studies have been done.
None.
Okay.
So that's what we're dealing with in your safety level from bird.
And it is also airborne, which they are trying not to.
Not airborne, Lila. I'm sorry, I got to correct you. It's air friendly.
It transmits through the air.
Yeah.
According to the McKinsey WHO's new language guidebook. But anyway, listen, we can all rest assured everything is fine. No need to worry. Leanna Wen is on the job.
I think we're good.
Why we shouldn't panic if bird flu becomes the next pandemic. So
why my kids will be chugging milk immediately once it becomes in the milk. Like that's Leanna Wen. She is the epitome, and she rose to prominence and got the trust of the world because she was actually the most critical person initially. And then they bought her and she flipped overnight to being a minimizer.
Yep.
That's it. She didn't like suddenly study the science and think, oh, well, COVID's not a big deal. She just started writing articles about like why my kid getting COVID a bunch of times is good and why, you know.
And she's basically been MIA, for 8 months or something? Because I think she was battling whatever she wants to call it. It was, she had COVID, then it was walking pneumonia, no big deal. And like whatever.
She was battling having no soul is what she was battling.
Yeah.
And I mean, still clearly has no soul.
I hope this doesn't get us taken off the air, but I wish that everybody would reap what they sow. And if anybody should be getting long COVID, it should be people who minimized this pandemic, who helped get everybody back to school and back to work, and is responsible probably for tens of thousands of deaths and way more. So, karma.
And good old Twitter shut down my parody account. Dr. Leanna knows when to, I don't even remember what it was called, to take the money or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's weird that, the accounts that get kicked off Twitter are really like, I mean, COVID, Twitter wants COVID to not be a big deal. So you get a lot of people booted for COVID stuff.
Yeah. Yep. We still have some shows that they call it medical misinformation because we said, do the vaccine or don't. I have, but do it or don't, but definitely wear a mask indoors. And they said that was medical misinformation. Lovely.
Yeah. So here comes bird flu. And, all the anti-vaxxer, anti-maskers have pushed their agenda that the whole world's, Bill Gates wants to put chips in your brain and all that stuff to such a level that like we're getting measles and mumps vaccines are going down, and now bird flu is going to hit, and people are going to be like, oh, not this time. You're not going to make me stay home from the restaurant for 2 weeks.
No lockdown for me.
No, those 4 years of suffering I went through. No, you didn't go to restaurants as much for like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Unless you were Gavin Newsom. We do have a little clip on COVID mental stress, but I mean, we've sort of covered it. What do you think?
I don't know what video
the Jeremy Faust one about how the mental stress during the lockdowns.
Oh yeah, I kind of want to show that.
Yeah. All right. So here he is putting to rest some of the rumors that keep being espoused. A couple people totally agree. Wears his mask, and the Run says he put sport in his nose. That's good. That's funny. Yeah.
But I do want to say, like, I appreciate him pointing out that stuff, because it's when you put all this mental health stuff, it's so easy for the people to say lockdowns caused all this stuff.
Yep.
And it's completely ignored how many people lost family and friends. And then how many people with long COVID now seeing the government betray them and leave them like and they're on their own.
Insecure.
Think of all the stressors and triggers and to put it on lockdowns is just ridiculous. I mean, if you take an honest look at it, I don't think anybody really would do that if they really looked at the studies behind it.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I can't remember his name now, but we showed quite a few. He was like deals with child suicide. And really very early on when they started pushing this, lie that the lockdowns caused all of the mental stress and suicides. And he had documented all the data that it actually didn't. They went down. But it doesn't matter. Once the lie is out there, it's like learning loss, and they talk about learning loss, but they don't talk about the fact that when the charts that they are referring to started in like 2014, so like when the ACT test scores started going down, that predated COVID by 6 years. Right. So like,
we're lockdown fanatics, even though, that's not even what either of us have ever really advocated for. I mean, mostly just mask. Let's get people masking. Let's get testing more comments. Get people staying home when they're sick. Maybe you don't have the kids that are the biggest spreaders all in a room,
3 feet apart, not 6 feet apart.
Hey, kids, we're all going to cough each other's mouths today.
Yes.
Maybe stop doing that a little bit.
Yeah. All right. That's that. Ooh, I'm throwing stuff at myself. That's the COVID bird flu report. And I froze, but that's just in time for the wheel. Pat, you're just going to have to call an audible while I take off.
Okay. I'm going to do that, but don't take off until I spin the wheel, because you got the wheel on your side of the thing here.
Yeah, but I can't do anything. I'm frozen.
But
are you seeing it spin? Yeah.
Hey, tell us what it lands on, Lila.
I can't see it. It doesn't look like anything to me.
Oh, on your end, you didn't.
Everything frozen. I have to quit out of all of Google. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
All right. I'm going to quit out. You show some fun video. I'll be back.
All right. I got us.
Good grief.
Lila, unprepared. She may do all the research and, pull the clips, but God damn it. Okay, here we go. This is what you get when you leave me alone, Lila.
Savage beauty. Look at that powerful body. Strength, grace, magnificent form. How does the tiger manage to keep himself at the peak of physical fitness for his entire life? He doesn't lift weights, work machines, perform calisthenics or aerobics, and he doesn't jog, yet he can tear the head off a man. His power comes from his own exercise system, far different from man's, and also far superior. It is the ultimate exercise system, which I call Tiger Moves. Ironically, when man sets about to improve his health and physical fitness through exercise, he devises systems which lack the simple wisdom of the tiger. Low-impact aerobics has far less injuries than high-impact, as does belly dancing with its smooth and completely natural moves. Tiger Moves, the best and most natural exercise system man can use. I'm John McSweeney, and I'm going to cover 7 of these basic tiger moves.
You're welcome. Hey, Lila, look, this is a new series. We're going to cover all 7 moves every week. The left needs to
Grab
get in
another
shape.
drink.
We're drafting Tiger Guy. Let's make this happen for the revolution. For
the revolution. Get your Tiger moves on. I got to make sure I'm presenting it. Are we just going to move on to the next thing?
Yeah, but you're going to get the wheel on, probably, right?
Getting it up. It doesn't look good yet.
Oh, that's okay. So what was next anyway? What do we got? We got Israel. Good old Israel.
Oh, good old Israel. Okay, where are we on Israel? It's horrific. And of course,
we're not at war. I mean, Israel is not at war. That's the good news. According to Biden, there's no war.
Yeah. And even though, how many countries is Israel bombing right now with our support? At least 4.
And no matter what numbers you decide to believe, there's at least 40,000 Palestinians dead. It's not a war.
I mean, he says it's not a war that we are spending billions on, that we are providing intelligence for, that are our bombs blowing people up. But also when they bomb Iran and there's 4 countries right now that Israel has bombed in the last. Jordan, not Saudi Arabia. What? That's not true. Sorry.
Where'd you go?
Can you not hear me?
No.
Yeah. Bombing Iran, threatening, and Lebanon, right? Like, this is a regional war, and we are fully participating and funding it, and it could stop in a second. These are the Euromed numbers. 200 days, so this was from yesterday, have passed since Israel declared its war on Gaza. Since then, the Israeli army has killed 42,510 Palestinians, averaging 212 people per day, including 79 children and 50 women per day. I really hate that they don't include men in there. I mean, I really do. It feels so disrespectful. And I know that the thought process is like, well, there can be no argument. Like, at least with this child, you can't say fights with Hamas, right? Or I guess a woman is also not allowed to.
Israel. They will grow up to be Hamas. So
exactly. So like, I just feel like it's really callous to pretend like it, or not to pretend, to sort of insist that only the women and children's slaughtering is the thing that we should be focused on. I don't know. I just don't like that at all. But anyway.
No, and we're looking now at mass execution, mass graves, two sites of.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. I was just going to go through the other things, but you're right.
Oh, no,
I just want to say, like, the 137 journalists, the 365 medical staff, 42 civil defense personnel, and of course, displaced almost 2 million people. So this is only possible with the backing of the US. But yes, mass graves are being discovered.
Estimates are that at least 500 Palestinians were executed by IDF at Al Nasser Hospital and buried in one mass grave. That's one mass grave found. The UN found there's another one.
Also at Al Shifa. Yep. Both Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis and Al Shifa Hospital in Gaza City. Total of 283 bodies were recovered at Nasser Hospital, only 42 of which have been identified. They were found with their hands zip tied, stripped of their clothes. There were doctors. Oops, sorry, we were both taking it off at the same time. Doctors still in their scrubs with their hands zip tied behind them, and they're buried in these mass graves with human waste over them.
There were children with zip tied
bullets
ties around
in the back of their head.
So this is Nazi level extermination. And the U.S. is just pretending it's not happening.
There's no talk about it.
Well, they were questioned about it at one of the Pentagon presser, I think. And as always, they're like, "Well, we're gonna look into this. We're gonna get Israel to look into this. We're disturbed, and we're gonna see what Israel says to us about it.
Yeah,
and reports on it. Israel still won't allow independent people in to study this stuff, of course, because they're committing genocide.
They're committing genocide, and we also know that every time they're asked about it, yes, Macarius, you're right. Some were scanned, some were missing organs. And every time they're asked about it, they say Israel has a right to defend itself. They investigated themselves. They said that, they'll either say it didn't happen and then everybody moves on. And then they find out like, oh yeah, they did blow up that hospital. Oh yeah, that young girl, Hind Rajab, they said, oh, the IDF was nowhere near her. Oh no, then it turns out, yes, they were. The Flower Massacre. It turns out they were firing 600 rounds of bullets a minute at the starving masses who were running to get some food aid. So, but then that doesn't get covered.
No, and then, so much of the public is already aware of this stuff that what will happen is the next phase will be Biden administration saying, well, because we put in place some processes, that's not going to happen now. Yeah. We were disturbed and we want to make sure every Palestinian lives matter. Right. And then until the next time, nothing changes. And then they'll do the same thing. Right.
And we know that Blinken is sitting on major evidence of war crimes by the IDF, and his own staff has come forward to talk about it. But of course, I think the only journal that's covered it is this ProPublica. Special State Department panel told Secretary Blinken in December to sanction the IDF due to war crimes and rapes. He's taken no action. And then, yes, as a reminder, the U.S. government pulled UNRWA funding on the mere allegation of Hamas, but zero action on documented rape and murder by the IDF. And they've admitted that they've seen no proof of any issues with Hamas being part of UNRWA. And we've still prohibited any funding of UNRWA until 2025, knowing that it's causing that not funding UNRWA is contributing to mass starvation and famine.
Yeah, UNRWA, we'll let them come in once there are, no people left that are fighting.
Yeah.
Or not even fighting. Yeah. There are no.
First, they needed Jose Andres to build a pier out of rubble that contained human remains in it instead of funding UNRWA. Yeah. The crazy thing is that recommendation of defunding the IDF because of those war crimes and rapes, those reports were for incidents that happened before October 7th. So just really for gross. The people who say it all started on October 7th.
Yeah, we have the heaviest hand in this of anyone on earth other than the Israeli IDF themselves, Netanyahu. It's us. Yeah. And the whole world knows if we weren't condoning this and ignoring it, and
it'd be over.
It would be over. This wouldn't be allowed to go on.
Yeah. Which brings us to the part that we're going to cover a little more this week. Do you want to start with the good news, but we're starting with the worst of the world to like segue into or worst of the week, or what do you think? Is that how we should get going on that, or just
we should definitely. A lot of people have been following the antics of this man on Twitter for a long time before the Colombia protests, even maybe around when it started. But I mean, he recently earned it this week. But let's get to the graphic. Most importantly,
okay, so he is an assistant professor, I think in economics or in the business school at Columbia, and has been harassing students at Columbia all along, Palestinian students or students for justice for Palestine, any organizations on campus who are speaking out for Palestinian rights and against this genocide, calling them Hamas and terrorists, like pointing megaphones in their faces. But it's only ramped up because last week, I think to the day, was when Columbia started their tent city, right? That was last week. They started erecting tents on the quad at Columbia and basically it's for divestment. They want Columbia, which is, a huge, has huge financial stake in Israeli companies. They want to divest. They've also, though, I will say, been talking about Columbia as a slum landlord. Columbia is one of the biggest landowners in all of New York City. And they also want them to stop gentrifying the area. It's in Spanish Harlem. Stop gentrifying the area and kicking people out. So they've kind of married both of those, projects together. Anyway, so our worst of the world, most recently, and then we'll go back, but this was the latest thing he did, which basically is asking for death of these students.
I know it's painful to say this. I know there's a fraud history in the United States with U.S. colleges, but it's time to bring in the National Guard because the NYPD is in over their head. Obviously, the President Shafiq and the administration are unwilling to do anything about this.
So the fraught history is the National Guard being brought into Kent State to deal with the student protesters who were protesting against Vietnam in 1970. They killed 4 people. I think they injured 9 more. 4 days later, National Guard was brought to the University of New Mexico, where they bayoneted like a dozen students. Nobody was killed, but it got violent. And those are moments in history that are looked back on with horror, that's how we would treat student protesters who are protesting against a war that everybody agrees now was wrong.
Right. And clearly his argument is about the safety of a Jewish person on campus, right? Like they're somehow going to be targeted because of this, right? But we've all seen that that's not the case. I mean, we saw that the Jewish person that put out the video, the husband of his wife, saying how brave she was. She was standing out there with the shirt that said Jew, and she's turning around, and people are like, nobody's within 100 feet of her.
Protest at Yale, right?
Oh yeah. That wasn't Columbia. You're right.
But it's yes,
it's the same situation exactly. But even behind her is somebody holding a Jews for Peace sign. Like, so clearly, there is not this aggression towards Jewish people. And even the people, the Zionists aren't under threat. Like, this is allowed to go on. This is the debate that should happen on college campuses. You should have freedom of speech. You should be able to put your protest sign up and say some stupid shit. Now, you shouldn't be able to put up a Nazi slogan, but there are absolutists that would say even that is okay. I would a different level.
Yeah, I mean, there's different things that can be expected on campus and not. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much a free speech absolutist. So I do think that people should pretty much be able to say whatever they want to say and then suffer the consequences, which might be a fist to the face. But yeah, so what was interesting about that, the lady who was so brave, and on Twitter, a player in the game posted the woman's husband, who had said how brave she was, goes up to the same group of peacefully protesting kids. And again, trying to agitate, like getting in their faces and with his camera, like right in their faces. And one of the protesters is trying to de-escalate. He's like, do you need some food or water? We'll get you what you need. They are trying to, they just cannot stand the fact that anybody is criticizing Israel's actions. I mean, that's it. They just want to silence any dissent. So,
yeah, I mean, and obviously some of it is like you've got a mix of true believers that really believe what they're saying. There's some that's tied in with economic interests.
Right.
With him, it's probably both, but I mean, there has to be an internal struggle, and your brain makes you pick a side on a lot of these things. Like his whole life, he grew up learning that Palestinians are not equal people. They're lesser people.
IDF soldier.
His dad was very, let's see, I pulled a clip on his dad. Where is that?
I know. I can't see anything. Oh, here, you're right here. His father is a weapons manufacturer, right?
Yeah. I mean, they got they won awards for some stuff they did for AR-15 guns,
right,
for example. But, the connection, like Eli and his wife, his dad, and
his father and the wife, sponsored.
They sponsored a center in Tel Aviv where Benjamin Netanyahu was fitted for a pacemaker last year. So this is a direct connection to Netanyahu. It's the wealth elite. It's not This is not just some Joe professor. There's more to this guy's story than they're letting
And he is
on.
harassing kids at Columbia. Actually, Jewish students just issued a complaint to Columbia saying he makes them feel unsafe. He has called them Judenrats and capos and is harassing them. He doxes people, right? There have been all of these. So that's like the cameras that they are sometimes. So the one time that they said Zionists aren't welcome here was within their protest. And so there have been like, and they'll just clip those words, right? Where they're like, nope, don't let the Zionists in. But it's into their space. He tried to start his own protest, and Columbia campus said, yes, you may, but you can't do it right where you can't do your counter protest right where it's going to inflame even more chaos.
Classic Hasbro style. They are hiding the truth knowingly. Like, he has to know that he's misinforming people about the incidents and how it happened.
Yeah.
The Zionist quote was taken out of context.
Right.
He's spreading it knowingly.
Right.
So it's hard to believe anything the guy says. And that's when you look into almost anything these Zionists say. I mean, honestly, it's a lot of garbage.
It's a lot of garbage. And also the racism and bigotry is so clear. Like, he took video of Muslims praying at one point and said, can you believe it? This is Columbia's campus happening now. And all it was like this very peaceful prayer moment of prayer, right? No, there was no problem at all.
It's almost like he's saying, look at these actual Palestinians free from behind.
We have
their prison
Muslims
wall.
On our campus.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's his problem. They're Muslims who feel free to pray on campus. Meanwhile, there have been Jews who have put out, like Shabbat. We're having Shabbat tonight within this little, protest. We're having Passover together. It's, they are actually getting along very well. They know that Muslims and Jews and Christians and atheists and everybody can live together. So here was their Shabbat Shalom in that same space that he says is making Jews feel unsafe. Then a few days later, first night of Passover, this is actually Simone Zimmerman, who was one of the producers of Israelism, that documentary, which is pretty fantastic if you can check it out. But it is primarily peaceful until people come in and try to agitate. And even when the president of Columbia called in the NYPD on her own students and now faculty, they came and they arrested over 100 people. But even the NYPD said that the protesters were peaceful. The students that were arrested were peaceful, offered no resistance whatsoever, and were saying what they wanted to say in a peaceful manner. That's Chief John Chell of the NYPD saying that.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost the argument with the public. The public knows this is right. Young kids, especially in college, know this is right.
Yeah.
They're not going to, I mean, the beauty is it's spreading to other colleges. It's spreading.
Yep.
And
spreading. Yep.
It really is going to go beyond Palestine, I think, at some point. But until Palestine is free, that's going to be the central focus. But
yeah,
they're building the next Occupy by letting by all the pushback from the government is making everybody say, you know what, we can't handle this fascism. We have to fight. We have to fight.
Yeah, we can't just sit back and take it. And what's been really interesting is like bus drivers in New York today, I think it was today, refused to take the new group of people that that the NYPD was arresting, which I also don't really understand why they're arresting when they say they're totally peaceful, but okay. But there was bus drivers who said that they refused to help them, take them down to the jail to book them. Yeah. Robert Kraft, you know, one of the Patriots owner, one of the billionaire donors to Columbia. He went to Columbia, pulled money from Columbia and convinced some of his billionaire friends to do the same. He, just as a reminder, among the hundreds charged in a Florida sex traffic sting. And yet somehow he's been on every cable news network with, CNN and MSNBC talking about the anti-Semitism. What?
Yeah, he's pulling his money from Colombia because they're not being racist and prisonous enough.
Yeah.
Prisonous, not a word.
He likes his minorities as sex slaves, where he can pay the owner to have sex with exploited women.
Right.
Yeah.
So look, the patriots need to take a hit. This is what we need to do. We need to take all these people and companies that are investing in weapons and this genocide and make them have a financial burden. It's got to cost them money. Money is all that this system responds to.
Well, I do really think it's going to be interesting because obviously Columbia and a lot of these college campuses, right? Like last week we saw they're banning the valedictorian at USC from speaking at the commencement. At UC Berkeley, there was like a law school dinner to, send
Berkeley, center of the 60s revolution.
Yeah. And they pride themselves on that. They market themselves as social justice campuses.
Yeah. It's
and so now they have to fight against the war. The conflict is now between, not war, the conflict is between their billionaire donors, which all of these people have all of these institutions have huge donors.
Colleges fully rely on billionaires and mega millionaires.
But if their product that they're selling, which is an education at Columbia or Stanford or USC or whatever, relies on selling that product as a place where students become activists, they change the world, we give them an education, we to show them how you can rise up and fight systems. And that is now coming into sharp contrast with their donors, who absolutely don't want students to protest or speak out against all of the evils of capitalism and war.
Right.
So what's going to happen?
What we're seeing is the colleges are very beholden to these donors. They're bought, they're purchased, they're captured by capitalism.
Yeah.
And so
they're arresting their students and their professors.
Students are saying, you know what, you're also beholden to our money. We are paying tuition here. Without us and our exorbitant student loans, you can exist because of your donors, but you're not going to make a profit. And
donors
the money train is going to be over for the college.
That's right. Because if it's no longer a compelling institution for kids to apply to and to get the best and the brightest, or however they want to sell it, you're going to start losing some of your donors. Right. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they rectify this, because somebody's going to have to give, or they're just going to have to change how they sell their institutions. But
these kids aren't going away, and they're going to have a group on not every, but a lot of campuses are going to have these groups. And as far as Democrats are concerned, this is the biggest of big problems, because they're going to push their but Trump stuff on people. But the kids are not going to let this go. And they're not going to, they push this, just keep your dissent quiet for a little while. Right. Let's get past the election. Then you can put your tents back up on campus. But you can't tell protesters not to do it now.
Wait, so they're going to be 6 months when we know that 300 people are being slaughtered every day. Kids are losing limbs. Babies are being born as orphans. 2 days ago, baby born an orphan. Born an orphan because they killed the mother and the father and had to slice the baby out of the mother's belly. Born an orphan. Yeah, no, it's not going to end. And I thought this was really interesting. So the president of Columbia is this woman right here, Shafiq. Manoush, I can't remember her first name, but anyway, a short thread. Oh yeah, it's right there. Sorry, Manoush Shafiq. So this was a student who was getting her master's at the same time as the Unite the Right Charlottesville white supremacist rally. That image of the young man on the left who became sort of like the image of the hatred and the Jews will not replace us.
Right.
There was a protest started at the school where they wanted to get rid of him, but they were told by, and this was when, sorry, I'm going to go back because she was the director at this graduate program at the time. There was a protest trying to get rid of him. She said, no, we can't. We don't do background checks on people, and we do have free speech. So doesn't get rid of the person who's screaming, Jews will not replace us at the Unite the Right rally where Heather Heyer was killed, but is going to lock up her own students and faculty and throw them off campus because they're protesting a genocide.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's really
the hypocrisy is so clear is the point to it all. It's just, I mean, look, but it's spreading to other schools and schools are retaliating. So just like with capitalism, when something changes, and it's always a test, like, how do we suppress this? Let's see what happens. So University of Minnesota arresting kids for putting up tents, charging them with trespassing, and banning them from the campus for a year. I mean, and we don't have anything on it, but I just remembered that Columbia is now allowing online classes. It's like, oh no,
they're forcing it.
Yeah, with COVID, we can't. There's no way we can do online options. But now we're back to suddenly magically, yes, everybody can just take it.
Yeah. And of course, getting a heavy and it's happening everywhere. Like the police brutality is happening in universities in southern states, in Western, Midwest, the East Coast, like everywhere it's happening. And of course, the police are coming in and immediately escalating the situation to violence, striking teachers, faculty, students, and arresting people. And then you've got people like Jake Tapper, who's quoting a rabbi who says it's horrific scenes of anti-Semitic harassment. And what they consider anti-Semitic is anybody saying Palestine will be free. That's what they consider anti-Semitic.
And Jake Tapper, critical journalist, ignoring all the facts behind this. When it's pointed out to him, it's not like he doesn't live in a vacuum. Everybody's pointing this stuff out to him.
Talks about the stabbed in the eye thing. Somebody was stabbed in the eye. And
I think we should explain that story in case you haven't seen it. But this person was at was it in Columbia? It was in Columbia.
I think it might have been Yale, but I don't know. I don't know which campus it was. You might be right.
Palestinian protesters were marching through past some pro-Israel Zionist people, and somebody with a flag, the little flag with a little wooden stick
that is rounded at the top.
Yeah, sort of poked into the camera. It's really unclear if any of it was intentional or not.
I mean, now I wish that we were showing the video, even though it's pretty boring. So it's just 45 seconds at the very end, but like it feels very clearly unintentional. But go ahead.
I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
There was no like violent stabbing. Like even if it was a poke over there, it had there was no possibility of being accurately from that angle poking someone in the eye. So it was just like, at worst, maybe somebody like, let's get my flag in front of the camera or something.
Right. Yeah.
So, and the person wasn't harmed, but she went on all these television shows as some sort of massive stabbing victim.
Yeah.
And the video existed because the video was being recorded for her.
She was recording it. Yeah.
And none of these TV networks showed the video because it would minimize their entire claim. It's like, this is silly.
Yeah.
Just like the person with the Jew shirt on. Like, why did they share that video? You look like you look ridiculous. And this would have made her look ridiculous. And Jake Tapper knew it. And they should have shown it. If you're going to have her on, show the video.
Yeah. Nope. They won't do that. And the New York Times obviously doing, the same thing, saying, where's my New York Times one? But just basically any protest is labeled anti-Semitic. They're just going to run with that propaganda in spite of the fact that Many of the protesters are Jewish, but they're just not the right kind of Jews. Yeah. Okay, so wait, we just have to show this other video of Shai. Somebody wrote, and it really is true, like he faces the first checkpoint in his life and throws a tantrum. So here he is just losing it. 1 second at Columbia. They don't want to let him in because it's not to go into to teach a class. They know he's going to go in to agitate and escalate and harass students.
My card has been deactivated? Why?
Can you back up, please?
Wait. Everybody, my card has been deactivated. This is Cass Holloway, the COO. This is Gerald Lewis. They were in the meeting where I asked them if Hamas is a terror organization, and they couldn't say that it is a terrorist organization. Why? I'm a professor. Why can I?
Shai,
No. Speak out loud so the media.
Shai, we are willing to take you to the math lawn.
No, I am a professor here. Whoa, everybody quiet. I am a professor here. I have every right to be everywhere on campus. You cannot let people that support Hamas on campus and me, a professor, not go on campus. Let me in now.
Let us in.
No.
Let Shai in.
Are you not letting a professor go on?
Let him in. Let him in.
And you know
Let Shai in.
No, you're gonna let me. No, you're gonna let me everywhere. You're gonna let me in any public space on campus. And you notice, if you are not allowed there, then you say that you're not allowed there. I am allowed there. And wait, no, listen to me now. You will listen to me. I rarely listen. I rarely lose my. You know what? I wish you'd let me into my job. We are not okay.
He's such a little toddler. He's like stomping his feet. Like he just cannot imagine he has to follow the rules that anybody else does.
The entitlement there. And you just know this is all like he's creating a fake moment because the guy is saying, look, we'll walk you over to where you want to go. But really what he wants to do and what everybody knows he's going to do is go be an agitator at the actual pro-Palestine stuff.
Yeah, it's not like they were not going to give him a space. They were giving him a space. Oh, it's so embarrassing. And yes, all of your comments are making me happy because wow, watching a grown man, a professor, calling his students like Nazis. He's saying that they're Nazis.
I mean, if you flip the script and what he said and say about Jewish people, you're gone so quick. You are so gone from teaching.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be allowed. He should be gone. All his capo stuff. Like, come on, this is unacceptable.
Yeah. And he's putting targets on these Jewish students whose names they're malign. Yeah, he's doxing them and calling them Nazis. I mean, like he said something about this is, here I am, a Jewish professor, not allowed on campus. The last time this happened was during the Holocaust. Yeah. All right.
So I do want to show the video. This is not related to the protest, but it's the cracking down coming on the protest. And, Biden tonight signed the TikTok ban.
Yeah.
We signed the bill, which,
bans TikTok.
It was a lock that TikTok was going to get banned effectively unless they agree to some terms, and we'll see what happens with that. But once they tied it to war funding, it was going to pass because everybody wants war. If you're a Democrat and Republican, you must support the war or you're not going to win a re-election. You're not going to get handed your comfy job after your term ends. It's all over for you.
Yeah.
So this guy's a Republican, but this could come from a Democrat too.
Oh.
Look what's happening at our college campuses right now in this country. Pro-Hamas activists are taking over public spaces and making it impossible for campuses to operate. Jewish students are being told to leave campus because their universities can't guarantee their safety. There are a lot of other things wrong with this, including the failure to prioritize student safety over appeasement of terrorist sympathizers. But why is this happening? Well, let's look at where young people are getting their news. Nearly a third of adults 18 to 29, these young people in the U.S. are regularly getting their news exclusively from TikTok. Pro-Palestinian and pro-Hamas hashtags are generating 50 times the views on TikTok right now, despite the fact that polling shows Americans overwhelmingly support Israel over Hamas. These videos have more reach than the top 10 U.S. news websites combined. This is not coincidence. The Chinese Communist Party, they are pushing this racist agenda with the intention of undermining our democratic values. And if you look at what's happening at Columbia University and other campuses across the country right now, they're winning.
I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. They just don't want people to have the information.
Yeah. So all the information is coming from China, not the actual people reporting in Palestine, not the UNRWA workers, not anybody that actually knows what's going on there. All this sentiment is coming from people that just don't trust CNN is the problem. So we got to get rid of the people that don't trust CNN.
I mean, yeah. When you have Joe Biden on the 100th day of the war, not mention Palestinians once, and at that point, it was into the tens of thousands of people who had been slaughtered. And then now lambasting these protests as anti-Semitic, just blindly accepting it. You have the New York Times always writing that the protests are anti-Semitic, and not only just kids, but also just like Jewish kids know that that's a lie. And they just don't know how to control it. So they're just going to they're going to keep doing their genocide, and they're going to shut down TikTok. It's a winning, put it on a lawn sign, Biden 2024. And
even this guy, like Lori just mentioned, you know, the way they word it, it's that he's told so many lies there. Like, you know, that the people, even though polls in the US say that the public overwhelmingly supports Israel, newsflash, they don't.
Right.
And regardless,
they certainly don't support giving money. Yeah.
And if you break it down to demographics that are on campus, those people don't support Israel in this. You know, that they're overwhelmingly pro-Palestine.
Yep.
And so that's the whole point of it, obviously. I mean, they have to shut down.
Yeah, it's just
they're losing the narrative. And that's the biggest problem politicians have, which is why TikTok's going to get shut down. They're doing everything they can. They might even get one day stop our powerful force here. Censorship. Stop the censorship.
I mean, it's really terrifying, which is why last week they say From the River to the Sea is anti-Semitic. Like, they're just laying the groundwork. There was just another thing where they are defunding or making it easier to defund nonprofit organizations that have any kind of, you know, like support, what is it? Support of terrorism or support of anti-Semitism, you know, like the wording gets so hazy because that way it can just suit any
Well, if you link
want to shut down.
If you ever link anything funding to, if the ADL considers you anti-Semitic, and people for years have thought the ADL is this, you know,
great organization.
Yeah. So, you know, it's easy to find, you could get votes for that because a lot of people aren't informed enough to understand that those claims of anti-Semitism are bullshit because they're like, oh, the ADL says it, or, you know, that kind of thing.
And just saying From the River to the Sea or being pro-Palestine is now considered an anti-Semitic occurrence by the ADL. So the numbers of anti-Semitism, which incidents have actually grown. Like also nobody's safer when Israel's committing a genocide and Israel insists that Jews are Zionists, right? Like that conflation is anti-Semitic because it's lumping those of us who are absolutely against Zionism and against this genocide in with it. Like they're bringing us all down with their ship, but they've now included anybody who's pro-Palestine or pro, you know, liberation.
Look, naturally, when there's a war, you've got an agitation of both groups involved in the war. So the extremists on both sides are going to increase their worst behavior. So like that in itself is not evidence of a movement by China to influence our kids in a certain direction.
It's like when, I mean, God, this was when I was still kind of on Facebook, but, you know, it was like 2016 or like, you know, all of these Bernie messages of Medicare for all and a living wage. That's exactly what, you know, that's Putin's Putin's messages, and Bernie's just Putin's puppet. And at a certain point, you're like, well, I don't know if that's what Putin wants for all of us. Then go Putin. Like, I'm pro Putin. Then, you know, like if like it's not lies. It's not that China is, if that's even what it is, which I don't think it is. But like if TikTok were disseminating lies, but you still don't ban it. You combat it with the truth. You do not shut it down. That's what they did with COVID, right? Yeah. Anyway. All right. I know. Anyway, Shy Davide, worst person of the week. We need to send that, right?
Garbage human being.
Garbage. All right. Here we go.
We haven't had
Yeah, baby.
That's the one we already showed. Unless you guys want to watch Tiger moves some more? I wish I had them all queued up.
Wait, we have another one, but it's not as good. Do you want to not show the other one?
Oh, go for it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, we can just show the make you a little hungry.
And not to brag, but I've made like 6 billion food-shaped cakes in my career, so I thought I'd show you the evolution of my food cakes, starting all the way back in the early days of my career when I was like 10 years old, 2002, I think. This is my burger cake. I brought it to a family party. It wasn't pretty, but neither was I, so it's okay. Jump forward 20 years, I made my second ever food-shaped cake, this stack of pancakes, sort of novelty and cute, but had a lot of room to grow. I liked making this salad cake the next year. I love using wafer paper to create fake lettuce. It's like really satisfying. But again, we have a long way to go. That bowl's looking wacky. It was 2022 when I got pretty good at hyper-realistic cakes. This bottle of ranch dressing, I think, is pretty good. I made this after I was on Is It Cake. I wish I was good at hyper-realistic cakes when I was on the show, but I wasn't. Oh, there's my brother in the background of my shot. So then jump forward to last year, 2023. I made this bowl of like cereal cake with the milk jug. Thought that was pretty good too. If I need to say something myself. And then this year I made this jar of cookies. Let me know which your favorite cake is, but don't be too mean about it.
I love those kinds of cakes. They make me happy. I don't know why. Not as happy as your tiger moves.
Is this cake, by the way, is that worth watching? Would I hate it? Is it too corny? It feels like it's going to be too corny. And
what? I don't know. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, there's a whole show where they do this, like, is it cake, and they cut it or something, and somebody help me here. I've never watched it. I don't know,
but I think
Mila might have a new hobby.
I might have a new hobby, and I might now start battling your cat videos with the cake stuff.
Cake?
Yeah.
If you bring cake videos every week, we're gonna get more of that tiger stance training. So do it at your own peril. We're gonna drop viewers so fast.
I'm drinking all my wine.
Tiger shape.
Tiger shape. But should we call an audible? Like, is it time? Like, it's been, right? It's time. Shot. All right. It's time for a shot. I did do it. Look at.
What's going on?
All right. I got my shot. Cheers.
That was not good.
Somebody did comment last week on our YouTube show that that my buying a 6-pack of wine, maybe I'm an alcoholic, which I think is crazy because I'm just cheap, because when you buy 6, you get 30% off at Rouse. So you got to buy 6 at a time. That's just the rules.
That's fair.
I did not make them up. All right.
We get some of the best comments. I mean,
I've gotten a lot of crazy
ones. Not so much on our YouTube, but like our personal stuff is always fun. My DMs are amazing. I should do a whole show on my DMs sometime. Like the hate that I get.
There is a lot of people who really want to be angry online. That's their whole vibe. Yeah. Okay. Where's election? I mean, we've kind of been there, but here we go. 2024.
Election watch, hard to watch. What do we got? Oh, should we start it off? Sorry, I cut you off there.
No. It's fine, Pat. Just take it away.
Let's see how it's going from Biden himself.
Yeah.
He's going to explain how he's doing so far.
I never thought I'd see a time when I'm going through a neighborhood or a rural town in the West or something to see big signs that have a Trump sign in the middle that says F Biden, and having a little kid standing with his middle finger, 7 years old, 8 years old. Well, I promise it happens all the time.
That might be the one truthful thing he said recently. Kimmy,
I mean, the optics of that with his audio being like, God damn, he sounds like he's 100. And the guy that they're interviewing, congratulations, you hit 100. Do you have any advice? And it's like, I mean, I don't want to be ageist, but like, you're running the country. Him compared to just 4 years ago is crazy how much he's declined.
It is insane, which is our, yeah, Kimmy, thank you so much. I wanted to make sure we got to thank you. Thank you for your super sticker. Yeah, the comment, I mean, I guess we'll show it, or we could even show it now, but the comment or the title of our episode, Sharp as a Tack, is because they're trying so hard to pretend that he doesn't have a problem. And again, like, yeah, but we're all, if we're lucky, we'll all reach a very old age. He's not that old, but anyway, an old age, and we're all going to feel the effects of age, but you shouldn't be the leader of the free world, engaging in numerous wars, denying your country. Like, there are so many things that are wrong with him, but to then add to a genocide, but then to add to it that he's clearly, he should just be sitting in his lawn chair and watching Oprah in the afternoon. Like, he does not need to, he should not be running the country. Nobody feels better having him in
such obvious decline is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, talk to Bernie. Bernie's as sharp as he ever was.
Yeah.
Talk to Trump. And this is the other thing. Like,
Yeah.
Trump is a terrible person, but he's the same terrible person he
Yeah.
was 4 years ago.
Exactly.
You can't, there's no gap in him being a terrible person.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's awful. I think, media is urging that they debate. The fact that that's even in question in a democracy that he's supposed to be saving, that he might not debate.
I think that's all they're really floating the idea, can we get away with not having a debate? And that's the, like, that story is put out there to normalize the idea that there won't be a debate. So like, oh, we're pushing for a debate. We wanted to have a debate, but if they don't have a debate, I mean, they're going to have a debate. I'm sorry. I just don't think you can get anywhere near not having a debate.
I think it's like a battle of the capitalist endeavors, right? Like, they would make a ton of money, because I do think people might watch that because it would be hilarious.
CNN is really going to want debates. Fox News is going to really want debate. And then just to have the stuff to talk about.
Right. But they all definitely want Biden to win. So a debate would probably unless they did what they did when he debated Bernie and somehow hopped him up on so much stuff that he was able to be passable.
And they'll do that.
Yeah.
It's just,
it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Look, he's already one of the least interviewed. Well, Biden is the least interviewed president ever. He's given no real
interviews. They've all been like softball, like
not even interviews, press conferences. He's given like, we gave Hillary so much shit for ignoring the press during her campaign, but Biden as president doesn't even come out and talk.
Yeah. And I mean, the interviews are always softball ones where it's like, it's like some yoga guy or all right. Here are all the things that they're going to blame people. Okay. Here's one thing. The protest could really hurt the Democratic Party. So it's not the genocide. It's the protests. Banning TikTok, which I'm glad, the ACLU has not been always great recently, but I'm glad that they are saying that this ban directly violates the First Amendment rights of the over 170 million Americans who use the platform, many of whom were before this considered the Democratic base. Anytime they talk about a bipartisan bill, it means that everybody got together to screw the poor, which is exactly what they did, because not only does this bill enable the genocide, Stephen Semler, friend of the show, unconditional military aid, $10 billion and $4 billion to allow Biden to stockpile an indefinite amount of weapons to Israel. And they've just completely bypassed the Leahy law. I mean, Bernie, as feckless as he has been in all of this, is at least the one trying to say, like, there has to be some sort of standard for giving aid. We can't just give a blank check.
Yes and no. I mean,
I
he's
know,
honestly
I know.
like,
he's a Zionist in the
it's
end.
so
I mean,
hard to get
I know.
nod and stuff.
I know.
Because he's still, even, you know, we're not even talking about Ukraine anymore, but like his opposition included the urgency for Ukraine to get money.
I know. It's so gross. I know. It's just so gross. They are kidnapping Ukrainians off the street, mentally disabled, older people, people who are physically disabled. They've slaughtered hundreds. We have used them as cannon fodder in our war against Russia, which isn't working, which eventually there's going to be some sort of peace agreement, and Ukraine will have lost hundreds of thousands of lives and more land for what? Yeah. And Russia, is becoming, part of the BRICS is growing. Their Russian economy, in spite of sanctions, is growing. It's a complete disaster. But yeah, the fact that Democrats voted for this foreign aid bill because of Ukraine. Republicans voted for it because of Israel. They lumped in the TikTok ban, and bipartisan, everybody's happy.
And that was the TikTok ban was the truth. Well, all the war money was actually bipartisan.
Yeah.
Because all these guys want to get reelected. And
right.
They're also buying war stocks. I mean, it's like, there's no barrier to them just getting rich off of war. Not a single barrier.
Yeah, that's all it is. They're all, exactly.
But the good news is Biden's going to win because he's going to run on marijuana. And that's really going to change the game. The balls of him to send this out right now. The balls.
I know. And then like the vote blue no matter who lib crowd were like, oh my God, it's so funny. So this we screenshotted on the West Coast, but it was released on April 20th at 4:20 at 4:20. Hilarious. He's so clever. His comms are so great. No one should be jailed just for using or possessing marijuana. He has been the president of the United States for 3 years.
Yeah.
He could have decriminalized it 3 years ago.
This is a tweet that could have gone out from a Joe Biden parody account on April 1st.
Yeah.
April Fools. Aha. Look at me saying I'm going to do this in 2024 if you elect me, because I literally ran. Here he is in 2020.
Decriminalize the use of cannabis and automatically expunge all prior cannabis use convictions. And then remember, in the first few months, he fired any staff who answered the questionnaire. Honestly, do you smoke recreationally? Fired. Bye.
It's just fun to make that sound.
Yeah.
And don't forget his own, there's the mystery cocaine still unanswered. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden. There's more rumors that it's actually Joe's cocaine, by the way. But
really?
I mean, I started them, but it's probably
99% of dentists agree.
Well, somebody made the case that it was, obviously,
really
on Fox News, but
you're right.
Look, he's got to be up on something. He's up. They get him up. I mean,
something. Yeah, absolutely.
So it was probably a staffer bringing. I mean, who knows? But anyway, in other news,
yeah. All right.
The good news is protesting is illegal in a few states now.
Well, if protests are going to hurt the Democratic Party, you gotta outlaw them for sure.
Yeah. So good news for Dems. When I say good news, it's good news for Democrats, which is good news for us because the Republicans are going to take away our democracy and freedom to protest.
I mean, they're just serving this up on a platter for the next Republican administration. How to crack down harder on any protests.
Yeah. And we're not even talking about cop cities right now, but like that's all this leaks into why we have cop cities popping up in every state, almost every state, billions of dollars.
Yeah. Get rid of the protesters, make everything illegal, criminalize homelessness, get everybody into jail, and get free labor, which used to be known as slave labor. That's what's happening. He did. I mean, after this, what was it? $60-70 billion for war. Just a reminder, in February, he pledged $1.7 billion to end hunger in this country. $1.7 billion.
And let's look at that other word there, pledged.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see if that even ever
Pledged
happens.
isn't signed a contract, put it into writing.
Yeah.
You know,
no.
Look at all the money they pledged to COVID that went to cops.
He pledged it to the states for COVID, and then was like, use it for cops. Said that out loud again, loud. Unbelievable. Talked about the fair housing rule and is now waiting again. Reinstate an Obama era again. Like all these people who blame Trump for everything, and it's like Biden's been in power for 3 years.
Yeah.
So reverse the tax cuts or get back into the Iran nuclear deal, right?
So I just put this up here because I think we flashed by it too quickly.
Sorry,
I think.
too quickly. Yeah.
But he promised in 2020 all you have to do is repeal what Trump put in place to block the bill,
right,
for the fair housing.
Yep.
And now here he is running on his second turn on doing it. Like it was a new thing that happened during his term. No, you came in and got elected you promised to overturn this. And now it's like, oh, we will this time because we didn't take it seriously. Like we will codify Roe somehow, even though we're not going to expand the court. We're not going to
give me enough Democrats who want to.
Yeah.
It is so brazen and it's so obvious. It's just like embarrassing, right?
Yeah. I will be a better boyfriend if you give me 4 more years. 4 more years, I will be way less douchey. I will stop cheating on you and lying to you every day.
Yeah. I hate Trump, but the Trump derangement syndrome in Democratic cultists online is a convenient go-to in order to absolve Biden of any responsibility for anything. Totally true. And like politics explaining is what they always resort to, right? Like maybe you don't understand. He had Manchin and Sinema in Congress.
Yeah.
In the Senate. Well, Thanks for explaining that. He gave Manchin a primo position as the chair of the not environmental, the energy, right?
Yeah, he
gave his wife a job. Sorry.
Well, you should take a class in civics because it takes a majority of Congress and Senate to pass any legislation and blah 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 blah. But we have to stop Trump because of fascism. But look. We are going to approve unconstitutional warrantless searches of American communications. So Biden's going to sign this. We know Biden's going to sign this.
I mean, the White House, there was reporting that they were like twisting arms. It was actually a very close vote. That, when he wants something, he knows exactly how to fight for it, as we all know. And he was using his leverage as the most powerful person in the whole flippin' world because they want this. And if you're scared that Republicans are fascists or that Trump is a fascist, maybe don't sign into law a bill that tees it all up for the fascists we're about to take over.
Right. And so we're supposed to believe like all these things are good because, at least Biden is the responsible guy in charge who can do this stuff. But, all this power, expanded power of the executive gets handed to Trump, who Biden has no executive power. Somehow we're supposed to believe, but Trump has all his power already. But here's some more for Trump next time.
Yeah.
But
all the cop cities. Yeah.
This is my favorite owner of the week. Hillary Clinton tweeted this out about the environment. She's like, this is what's at stake between Trump and Biden. And this is the emissions projected by 2030. Now, if you see, both those arcs are flatlining. So our target, which is the only thing that can possibly, we already are going to be extinct on this planet. Like we're already at that point. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But our target of 2050 is missed by a mile by both these guys.
Biden and Trump are almost at the same spot versus where we need to be. Not Biden. What's his name? Obama, explained to us last year, listen, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If we can't get to 1.5, we'll get to 2. If it's not 2, we'll get to 2.5. Chip away. There's no chipping away. Like climate scientists are losing their minds because, again, I always think of my trajectory that kind of radicalized me was looking at my children and knowing that climate disaster was here and we were doing nothing about it, right? Like a decade ago. And then it's like, okay, then that gets replaced by Medicare for all, or, lack of health care, homelessness, COVID, wars. Like there is just one crazy catastrophe after another that we can't deal with because the next one is fast on its heels.
It's everywhere. And I mean, we just had Earth Day, right? So all the shit, look, Ed Markey is a good environmentalist. Don't get me wrong, as they go.
Right.
But him and AOC posed for a picture with all the Biden goggles on, the aviator glasses, like how cool we are, and had some quote about the environment. But this is a reality. Biden just approved the largest offshore oil export terminal in history in Texas. So we're gonna plan to export more oil, like way more oil than has ever been exported.
And we'll brag about it to the stockholders, actually, by the way.
He will. And he'll say it at the State of the Union at the same time as they're pushing all this climate stuff. Like, haha, you Republicans, we're just as bad on oil as you are.
And we'll give you your fascist border bill too. Let's go.
Why are you afraid of us?
Yeah.
But AOC and Markey.
Yeah. Ed Markey. Yeah.
Markey.
Yeah.
Markley Mark, as I like to call him.
Yeah, Marky Mark. Definitely. That's
Stop co-signing his policy, because you are the only, like, you're the best, at least Ed is the best person in Congress there on the environment, and you're like, you got to vote for this guy because he's so good. I mean, it's not enough. You see the chart. It's not enough. It's nowhere near doing anything to save anybody.
So the pragmatic small steps are going to get us all killed, maybe just a little slower. And the only thing, and people said in the chat, we've been talking about it for years. We all know this, that first of all, I do think that they're equally bad. I just do. I actually think on some level, Biden is worse, both because he's been in power longer and has a bigger body count, and because he doesn't get pushback for all the awful policies. If you talk to Democrats and you say, well, what about his environmental policies? They'll just talk about the climate bill and how it was historic, right? If you talk about genocide, they'll be like, well, Trump would be worse. What's worse? Like, what's the worst genocide? They've leveled Gaza. They've displaced 2 million people, and anybody who hasn't been displaced has been slaughtered. They are vaporizing children, people there, men, women, children.
You could not be worse on Israel than Biden has been.
Or if you are, whatever in these like feeble-minded people's imaginations is worse, doesn't make a bit of difference to the people who are being slaughtered right now. Like, it doesn't, there's no difference. There is no way a person with a soul or any standards for anything can cast a vote for genocide. I'm sorry. Like, but that also, is despicable.
Also, even beyond the atrocities and the genocide, Biden doing that is allowing all this stuff that could be happening that's evil under Trump to take over. Mm-hmm. Like, all the atrocities that Trump might commit are because of you, Biden, and your policies. So for Democrats to let that go and try to cover it up and just, polish that turd with he's 5% better on the environment.
It's empathetic.
You own what happens under Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. You handed that to him on a platter. If you're worried, high strike is the calming influence for all of us. Just don't pee on him.
It's going to happen on air one day, but anyway.
Anyway, disaster. And I think we should move on to spin the wheel, right?
But
unless you have something.
Well, we're on, what are we on? 2024?
Finished 2024, right?
Kudos to some activists who shut down Citibank. That's a good thing.
Yep.
So let's.
It is great. And there was another video. We're pretty video heavy this week, so we didn't do it. But there was another climate organization that was arrested for protesting Eric Adams, but like it was very clear that it was a not repercussion, like revenge for speaking. Yeah, retaliation. Thank you. That's my brain on 4 glasses of wine and 2 shots of vodka. Why would that person call me an alcoholic? That's crazy.
They should have, like, I was the low hanging fruit there with Ed Markley Mark. Come on. Going after Lila.
Anyway, it's just massively depressing. So let's bring in some fun. Here we go. We're going to spin the wheel. Ready?
What do we got?
Yeah, baby.
Right? Right?
With a strike.
I don't even need
beautiful
to.
Tail.
I'm going to remove that one. Grab some fun while I spin again. Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. Oh my God. All right. I'm pouring an extra big one. Wait a second. I'm like doing too much. I think I need to file for a raise because I'm wearing so many different hats. Right. Okay.
There we go. Right. Jen, I think Jen wanted to see some cats.
All right.
Although, look, the title of it on our side is Puppets, Mostly Dogs.
Well, you know.
But I think there's some cats.
All right. Let's see it. Are you doing it or am I? Those were good. I just need to, these are my favorite kinds of comments right here.
Where are you at?
Thanks, Lori. I agree, Lila. Yep. Here's another one. Amen, Lila.
I'm going to start having friends of mine comment.
Yeah. But I also did because yes, Jeremiah, we did see that, and we were going to use that video of this woman. It's kind of excellent. She goes, for those of you who haven't seen it, she goes on an airplane, sees Eric Adams is there, the mayor of New York City. I'm sure everybody knows, just saying it because I've been a little overserved. And she's like, "Oh, excuse me, are you Eric Adams?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he thinks she's going to say something. She kind of approaches him really nice. And she's like, "Fuck you." Oh, now you're paying Jessica. No, I'm kidding. Fuck you. There's a genocide. You're defunding all the things in our own city. Like, she just rails on him, and he's already like strapped into his seat. And I think he's even like in the middle or window. So it's not like he can ignore her. And it's pretty excellent. But we gave it, I think Jeremiah might have come to the show a little late. We gave it to Lena Khan, the head of the FTC, because they did just ban non-compete clauses for businesses. So
we were talking about putting together a video clip of all you could never get all, but one sort of, like a minute or two of people confronting our politicians in public and the no peaceness of it all. And I think we need to have that and show that soon.
Yeah, that could be our one good thing.
And we could all dance and do the Macarena or something to it and just enjoy.
It's so inspiring. And again, I think I think it was on our Sunday show that we showed clips from BBC News and how confrontational they are with their guests. And you just do not have that unless it's Trump.
So it's got to be citizens. It's got to be like, if you happen to see one of these terrible people, take a moment, turn your camera on.
Yeah.
Act like you're friendly and tell them to get fucked. And then you don't have to know all the facts, but make some point about him and just get a clip we can show on the air and share to people.
Yeah. It's good to practice that ahead of time so that it's not a staircase remark. You know, those remarks that like at the end of the night, like, oh, if only I'd said that, like just to know, oh, if I saw anybody in power, what would I say? You know, it's because it's easier to go from a script than to come up with it because it's really nerve-wracking to have to deal with something like that, you know?
Someone needs a website, what to say to who, and you could just type in a name and it spits out like the worst thing in a short little like
it's like all the metrics, like it's Eric Adams on a plane, it's Elizabeth Warren at the park, it's
But what if that actually took hold a little bit and you had like every time someone saw Nancy Pelosi, suddenly everybody's saying the lines that you put on this website, like you know, it wouldn't change things, but it'd be fun. More of it. Give us some joy in that respect.
Thanks, Adria. We love you. You rock right back. Thank you. Cheers. Okay, thank you. Sorry. I never want to I don't want to overdo it, but I also don't want to underdo it. And when I move on, I always feel like I'm, you know, not giving enough props, but we really do appreciate all of you. So thank you, truly. Okay, I'm moving on now because it's really getting late. The economy. Look at us. We're actually cruising.
We're on time. Look at us.
We're on time. All right. Economy going swimmingly. Bidenomics is being warned. International Monetary Fund warned the U.S. that its massive fiscal deficits have stoked inflation and pose significant risks for the global economy. Let's run on that.
So, I mean, this is when the U.S. is losing its power, which it should. But when the IMF is warning people that we're causing this, and then, you know, BRICS is taken over, people are looking for agreements with other countries. We are no longer, we are clearly no longer the moral authority, but we're losing our power in part because of our political, you know, the war stuff. I mean,
we're losing our soft power, but also the hard power of, I mean, we have the hard power of war, but the ability to hold smaller countries' debts over them is dissipating because of BRICS, which is great. I mean, it'd be great to have, I don't want any other horrific empire to take over, but I do think that a multipolar system would at least keep the evils of the US in check. I mean, I don't listen, we're opening cans of worms all over the place, but the can of worms we're in right now is pretty horrifying. So
as we know, there are some solutions out there.
Go ahead.
Unretire. Have you considered unretirement?
That sounds like so much fun when you're in your 60s and 70s. A third of your life.
A third of your life. You don't have a roadmap for, so you might as well go work at Walmart as a greeter.
By the way,
or president, run for president.
Yeah, run for president. It's not a third of your life because our life expectancy keeps plummeting because we don't have health care. People don't earn enough money. People are not able to get housing. It's not a third of your life. You're lucky if it's 10, 15 more years. Really. Unretire.
Like, unretire means like, hey, I took up a hobby like making pottery or something, not like,
so
hey, I'm 70, I'm
like,
back to being an electrician.
Yeah. And also, like, if we had a real country where people knew they had healthcare and guaranteed housing, those things that people wait to do until retirement could be part of your everyday experience. So you have like joy in your life, you have hobbies, you can go on vacation. Like, that's part of it. Like, the fact that everybody's just like waiting until retirement, and now even that's being taken away. It's just so.
Well, you don't watch enough Scarborough.
Yeah, I know. He's great.
That might change your opinion. He's getting tired of people. He's getting tired of saying this to people who claim to be patriotic but hate America.
It's exhausting.
America is stronger than ever before. Its economy is stronger than ever, but they'd never know this because they are fed a steady stream of hate America first rhetoric. Or you're doing well already, Joe. So you're not in touch with any of this shit that anyone not you or younger than you or, you know.
Imagine being irritated by having to just say this to people, not being irritated by like the skyrocketing homelessness or people being stripped of their Medicaid, Medicare, record numbers in the US are homeless. Hey, can we find them for sleeping in parks?
Well, let's bring that to the Supreme Court.
Awesome.
They're considering criminalizing homelessness. This is right now being debated in our Supreme Court.
And again, because everything, like, you cannot strip race away from class consciousness. 40% of the homeless people in the US are Black. So just like the 13th Amendment and the abolishment of slavery, and then starting up the sheriff patrol to get those slaves right back into jail so they could work for free, this is continuing. Like, it is just, this is capitalism. There's just no other explanation. This is what happens.
Yeah. And, you're in LA, but like, this is sort of like a feel good, sad story. I mean, it's
it's like poverty porn. Meet the homeless LA immigrants who built a do-it-yourself home in gentrifying Highland Park on the side of the flippin' freeway. I mean, that's,
and next week we're gonna have a story about how that is no longer there.
No,
because that hit the public airwaves.
Listen, they're doing that right now to Columbia students who somehow are able to, whether through grants or loans or financial aid or just the sheer, amount of money their parents have, pay for basically $100,000 a year education. They are taking their belongings. There's pictures of it and just throwing them out in alleys.
Yeah. Well, they gave them didn't they give them 10 hours or something?
No, 15 minutes.
Oh, 15 minutes. I meant
15 minutes. Yeah. So they're doing that to people who they know their parents or some could sue for them. Think about how they're treating people who don't have any voice. So vile.
Yep.
All right. This is just too sad. I feel like we need some more happy. Is there something else we should talk about? Gas fees are going up. The Southern California Electric, they're going to ramp that up.
Everyone's all the normal evil people that the weird thing is Trader Joe's being lumped in here, going after the National Labor Relations Board.
Yeah, but also just remember 5 years ago, Elon Musk was, for a lot of liberals, like their Batman. Like, he's a billionaire who's going to save us all. He's got
saving the planet.
Tesla, right?
And I posted it yesterday, but I was behind a Tesla
follow you
yesterday.
Anymore. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I blocked you.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
One of those Tesla trucks was in front of me. And let me tell you, it's just a box from straight behind. It's a box blocking your view.
Yeah.
So I took my picture out of a truck already. So I'm already sitting higher than most people.
Right.
Anyone else, normally you have a window to look through a little bit in front of the car or something around the edges, but there's no edge to see other cars. It's a danger to the public that this box is in front of you. And it's so fucking ugly. It's unbelievably ugly in person.
Yep. Awful. It's awful, disgusting. He is losing money though. Tesla is reporting major losses.
This is the good news.
Fell by 55% Tesla's profits in the first quarter.
And this is while his board is trying to give him $6 billion or something.
That's the thing. We'll bail him out. We'll totally bail him out. Don't you worry, buddy. You're gonna.
And the U.S. subsidizes a lot of his projects.
Yeah.
For a guy who's just trashing the U.S.
and trashing unions. He'll fire people, right? We will give him subsidies to create a new plant somewhere where then he can abuse his workers. And it is such a scam. It is really hard not to, and I've never not to become a libertarian about taxes at this point, because we are just handing them money and they tell us all to go fuck ourselves and hand it to the military industrial complex.
Right. I mean, obviously in a good society, you're happy to give taxes because that's paying for the healthcare, your education, and schools, and fire and police. But police suck. I have nothing bad to say about the fire department. They're always heroes, generally.
Mostly, yeah. Better than cops.
Better than cops. Unrelated to cops entirely. But
sometimes.
But you see our money, when our money goes to expand to privatizing Medicare, that's our U.S. tax dollars. We're basically Biden and Trump created this offshoot of our tax dollars to go to private businesses.
That's right.
And it's atrocious. It's failing left and right. It's leaving so many seniors fucked, homeless. It's creating homelessness.
That's right.
It's like there's a good argument that you can't make government work, and it's because too many people in the government are owned by all these corporations. So we have to get money out, and we have to.
You have to get money out of politics.
Insist.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now for Medicare, I mean, millions of people are going to be not covered anymore because providers are going to leave Medicare Advantage because of that part of it that's been privatized, because they, you know, the not precondition, you know, when you are given permission for that procedure.
Oh, right.
See, now I this is why I have to have so many graphics. It's because my
prior authorizations.
Prior authorization. That's the name of it. Yeah. So prior authorizations are the problem. Claims denials are a huge problem. Delayed payments and rates are the problem. So more and more health systems are going to be extricating themselves from that plan, which is going to result in, you know, bankruptcies and death.
The thing with capitalism is it's like, it's always a math problem for these businesses about how to make money. Yeah. So denying claims makes money.
It's not a problem. It's so
capitalism
easy.
ensures there are legal protections for how much money they can lose if they get caught flat out fraudulently denying claims. It can only be $250,000, for example. That's a made up math number. Don't quote me.
Quote him.
But if you weigh that versus what they know the care would have cost this person to keep on living for 10 more years or 20 more years, you know, it's a math problem, and healthcare should not be a math problem, which is why you need universal healthcare. Take it away from your employer so you're not married to your job anymore.
Yep. Yeah. Capitalism is the root of the evil. Okay. Spin again. I feel like, because we did have a couple, or should we just show, is there any of our videos that we want to show before we get everybody out of here?
What are we? We have say what or here.
All right.
We already did the TL cleanse, didn't we? Or do we? I don't
know. We've done a couple of them. We could just
spin it. Let's see what
happens. All right, I'm going to spin it. Let's see.
Yeah, baby.
I might override it if it doesn't get to some. I'm not overriding that. That's a good thing. So 1 second and I'll spin again.
We only have 5 minutes left. So, you know.
Okay. Get your shot ready. 1 second. I'm closing that.
Yeah, baby.
I should have taken that out. Yeah, I know. Dude, I'm doing a lot. I have to take care of a lot of stuff.
Multitasking.
Okay, I'm multitasking. Okay, here we go again. Wait.
Yeah, baby.
It's really hard to do when you can't focus. There you go. Say what? Okay, and cheers. Say what and a cheers, and I'm removing it.
Oh, say what? Yeah, this is about Biden being fit for office, which
he's
we all
awesome.
know. He got this.
This is the most election of our lifetime.
Ambrose Finnegan, they called him Uncle Bozy. He was shot down. He was in the Army Air Corps before there was an Air Force. He flew single-engine planes, reconnaissance flights over New Guinea. He had volunteered because someone couldn't make it. He got shot down in an area where there were a lot of cannibals in New Guinea at the time. They never recovered his body, but the government went back when I went down there, and they checked and found parts of the plane and the like. And what I was thinking about when I was standing there was when Trump refused to go up to the memorial for veterans in Paris, and he said they're a bunch of suckers and losers.
And the people that I've talked to and everybody that I have say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine. We all have an issue with memories. As we get older, we forget names, something. He's overcome a stutter in his life, and sometimes he might. But let's just say that his entire cabinet, including his vice president, everybody in his cabinet, would be more than happy to work with him again in the next term. I cannot say that about the other candidate running, because nobody in his cabinet from 2016 wants to be involved with him.
Yeah. You're good. Let me whisper a secret. You're one sexy kid. Don't tell mommy what I told you. You got it?
Mm-hmm. I'm recording.
Oh, you're recording. Not good at filming.
I'm recording. Don't tell mom. I'm recording.
And he had the shocked face, like, ooh.
Like he can barely string together a sentence about a lie that his uncle was eaten by cannibals in his little racist anecdote that's not doesn't correlate to truth on any level, but can get it out that you're so sexy, whispering in her ear, like, ah, oh my
Who
God.
says sexy to anyone?
That's
First
not
off,
your.
First off, he's married and he's old, but like you would never say sexy to someone 25, even if you're his age, 21, 18, 10, 6. What the fuck are you doing, dude?
I mean, yeah. Like every time Pat and I, we write back and forth. I mean, we talk several times a week, but we also are texting several times a week. And then sometimes I'll be like, I got to tell you something. And I won't even write it in a text to Pat, who is like one of my dearest friends, because I was told when I was very young by my dad, like, don't ever write down something that you don't want the whole world to read. Here is
in case we become enemies, I screenshot it. I'm sharing it with
or you hacked or whatever the hell. I don't know. Just don't. But like, he is one of the most documented people in the world because he is the president of the United States, and he knows that people. I mean, like, that he already has 8 sexual harassment suits against him. That he has this reputation of being this disgusting pervy lech, and he's still in the middle of his sundowning dementia where he can't find his way off stage, finds his way to a young lady's ear to tell her how sexy she is.
I'm sorry, but like if you don't know the difference between adorable and sexy, like you should be saying you're adorable. Like, oh, aren't you cute? Or, like adorable is like not a sexualized word, kind of like use that word. That's what everybody else in America would say. Like,
yeah, but not
charming.
to
Aren't you
whisper in her
charming?
ear. Yeah.
Aren't you sweet?
Like,
or
oh, you look so lovely. And, tell me, what are you like? I don't know. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Like, I love you. And I don't care what anybody says to me personally. He shouldn't be telling anybody she's sexy, adorable, attractive. And he should just zip his stupid lips, shut it, and be like, thanks so much. Where do you go to school? Thanks for coming out to support me. What's your, like, he should never be whispering in anybody's ear ever. Oh my God. His handlers.
The use of the word sexy is just infinitely unforgivable. Like, it's just.
And he knows it's wrong because when she says I'm recording, he's like, somebody grab that camera from her. Oh my God. Yeah. And yes, exactly. Thank you. He says, don't tell mom. There are so many videos where he actually
the red
says,
flags are like,
oh my
they're
God.
screaming at us. And don't forget, I mean, people did in 2020, his whole campaign started with all the Democrats coming out going, all this shit is so problematic. Like, holy crap. We have one of the Justice Democrats and like, was it 7? I don't know. There were so many people.
I think there were 7 or 8 people who
had direct claims
filed
about uncomfortable sexual contact with Joe Biden.
Yep.
And they all got washed away because the Democrats were stuck with him and they just all went away. And here he is time after time, the hair sniffing, the kid stuff.
Touching, like, it's just so disgusting. I think we missed one. Oh, Lynn, thank you for the super chat. Cheers. Thank you. Okay, where are we?
I think we're at. I mean, you could spin and get a here, or we could just go one good thing. And
I think we should one good thing it and send everybody off to dinner, right?
It seems appropriate. Strike is in my business.
Peeing on you right now.
Oh, literally falling on me.
Oh my God. Okay. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. We love you. Keep punching up. We will see you on Sunday for our shit show at 5 o'clock by Stripe and a strike. And I've clearly just I've been way overserved
the right
by
amount.
our bartender.
The
The right amount. It's the perfect amount. You guys are awesome. And
see you Wednesday.
Sunday, dude.
Sunday. Excuse me.
Oh my God.
What day is it?
Yeah. Just keep drinking. Cheers, everybody.